When you're over 70, summer feels different. The heat hits harder, the air feels heavier, and hydration becomes more than a suggestion. It becomes survival. But here's the thing, staying hydrated isn't just about drinking more water. It's about drinking smart. Most seniors don't realize their sense of thirst weakens with age. By the time you feel thirsty, your body may already be low on fluid, and dehydration in seniors can lead to dizziness, confusion, even hospitalization. But not every drink is created equal. Today on Elderly Reflections, we'll explore 6 powerful summer beverages designed specifically for older adults. These drinks aren't just refreshing, they support heart health, boost digestion, and even sharpen the mind. Some come from nutritionists, others come from stories, life lessons from the elderly who've learned what truly works after 70. Because here, we value more than advice. We value elderly wisdom, the kind that's lived, not just learned. These are drinks recommended not just for hydration, but for strength, dignity, and quality of life. Stick around, and before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Every week we bring you senior health tips, motivation, and inspiration, straight from real lives and voices that matter. In the unforgiving heat of Mesa, Arizona, 82-year-old Howard, a retired history teacher, found himself caught in a quiet decline. He wasn't bedridden, nor was he ill in any traditional sense. But something was off. He felt lightheaded standing up, lost his appetite by early evening, and spent his days in a fog of fatigue. "I wasn't sick," Howard explained, "but I wasn't well either." Despite drinking plenty of water, a large 32-ounce bottle that followed him from room to room, his symptoms persisted. It wasn't until his daughter, a visiting registered dietitian, took a closer look. Howard's daughter handed him something new: cold, unsweetened coconut water with a pinch of sea salt and a wedge of lime. "Try this," she said gently, and he did. That evening he slept through the night without the usual bathroom interruptions. The next morning he stood up, without the usual head rush. He felt, in his words, steady. And stability at 82 is a kind of power. Coconut water, naturally rich in potassium, magnesium, and modest levels of sodium, offers seniors a near-perfect electrolyte profile without the added sugars or artificial colors of most sports drinks. A 2012 study in the Journal of Physiological Anthropology found coconut water as effective, sometimes more, than typical electrolyte beverages for rehydrating after physical exertion. While seniors might not run marathons, many face chronic fluid loss from diuretics, high temperatures, or low thirst signals, all common after 70. It's also incredibly gentle on the digestive system, which makes it suitable for those dealing with ulcers, IBS, or reduced kidney function. Howard isn't alone. In the Everglades of Florida, 85-year-old Maria, a former nurse, drinks coconut water every afternoon, not just for hydration, but to manage leg cramps brought on by her blood pressure medication. "I used to wake up with cramps so bad, I'd cry," she says. Since switching to coconut water, it's rare. Her doctor confirmed she needed more potassium, and coconut water delivered it naturally. Beyond the nutrients, there's the ritual. Many seniors who incorporate coconut water in the morning report improved clarity, smoother digestion, and fewer energy dips. As Howard reflects, "I don't need magic, I need something that works." His morning now begins not with coffee, but a quiet moment, sipping from a chilled glass, reconnecting with his body. For Maria, her 2 p.m. coconut water break is her time to sit on the porch, feel the breeze, and listen to the trees, as she puts it. These aren't just drinks, they're small moments of peace. That same sense of reconnection is echoed by Rosa, a 76-year-old woman from northern Italy, who starts every morning with a cup of warm water infused with half a lemon and a spoonful of raw honey. Passed down from her grandmother, who lived to 99, this simple combination is more than a tradition. For Rosa, it's health in a cup. "I drink it before the village wakes up," she shares. "It clears me out. It lifts my mood." Science supports her experience. Lemon stimulates the liver, improves bile flow, and gently kickstarts digestion. A key concern for seniors, honey, particularly raw and unpasteurized, offers enzymes and mild antibacterial effects, while providing just enough glucose to spark energy without spiking blood sugar. A 2017 study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition linked warm, acidic fluids before meals to better appetite regulation and reduced bloating in older adults. James, 81, in Vermont, shares a similar ritual, adopted not for digestion but for aching knees. After years as a carpenter, joint pain was a daily struggle. A neighbor suggested warm lemon water with honey. Within 2 weeks, James noticed less stiffness in the morning, fewer cracks in his knees descending stairs. But more than the physical change, it was the mental shift that struck him. When I drink it, he says, I feel like I'm starting the day right. James now grows his own lemon tree in a heated garage, a small active agency that has become a treasured bond with his grandchildren, who help water it. For both James and Rosa, the drink is not just hydration, it's reflection, it's care, it's elderly reflections in action, honoring the value in every quiet, intentional step toward well-being. Eleanor, 78, in Nova Scotia, takes it one step further. She adds a few slices of fresh ginger to her lemon honey drink every other morning. It warms my chest, she says, and keeps the phlegm away. Ginger has long been recognized for its anti-inflammatory and digestive benefits, particularly helpful in cold climates where respiratory issues can linger. For Eleanor, it's a way to keep her lungs clear and her mornings warm, especially during long winters by the sea. Warm lemon water isn't for everyone. Those with reflux should consult their doctor. But for many, it's a powerful, low-cost way to nourish digestion, ease inflammation, and reintroduce consistency to their mornings. For seniors, consistency isn't boring. It's grounding. It's powerful. And in the quiet sips of coconut water, or lemon, honey, and maybe even ginger, you may just find a part of yourself waking up again. A sense of steadiness, a return to center, a whispered truth. You are still here and still worth caring for. Thousands of miles away, in the coastal town of Galway, Ireland, 79-year-old Margaret O'Sullivan begins her afternoon with something green, earthy, and surprisingly powerful. Chilled cucumber mint water. It's not a fancy drink sold in stores. It's something she prepares herself every morning and keeps in a clear glass bottle in the fridge. It's what keeps me fresh, she says, smiling as she trims mint from the pot in her window. And for seniors like Margaret, fresh isn't just about taste. It's about circulation, inflammation, and clarity. Cucumber is more than water. It's a hydrating vegetable packed with antioxidants, silica, and flavonoids that help reduce swelling and support vascular health. For older adults who struggle with water retention, puffiness, or blood pressure fluctuations, it's a quiet hero. Mint, meanwhile, has long been used to soothe the stomach, cool the body, and improve alertness. And in seniors, especially those with post-lunch drowsiness or digestion concerns, it can offer just the lift they need. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Gerontology and Geriatrics reported that seniors who consumed cucumber extract daily showed improvements in hydration status and reductions in oxidative stress markers over a 12-week period. Margaret didn't always drink this. In her 50s and 60s, she was a tea with milk woman, a creature of British tradition. But after a heat wave in 2018 left her hospitalized for mild dehydration, her doctor encouraged more vegetables and more fluids. It was her niece, a dietitian, who introduced her to the combination. She brought me a glass one Sunday and said, "Try this instead of tea today." I wasn't happy about it at first, Margaret recalls, laughing. Out and grew on me. Now I make a big jug every morning. Her method is simple. Half a cucumber, thinly sliced. 6 or 7 mint leaves, filtered cold water, steeped for at least 4 hours. She keeps it in the fridge and refills her glass throughout the afternoon. It's a gentle way to cool the body and give it what it truly needs. More than that, it's become a moment of mindfulness. When I pour that glass, she says, I pause, I take a breath, and I remind myself of still caring for me. And that, once again, is what Elderly Reflections tries to honor. These are not quick fixes. These are not miracle solutions. These are life practices, ones that carry motivation and self-respect into the later years of life. Margaret's simple cucumber mint water is a declaration. I am still here. I still deserve peace, refreshment, and health. Her neighbor, 82-year-old Daniel, has a similar ritual, though his twist includes a slice of lemon and a pinch of turmeric. And sharpens it up, he says. And the turmeric, well, it's good for the joints. That's what I need. Daniel, a retired postal worker, had suffered from mild arthritis for years and refused to take daily painkillers. Instead, he focused on food as medicine. You can drink your way to better knees, he jokes. But behind the humor is a discipline. Daniel prepares his cucumber lemon mintour with tour water every evening for the next day. It's how he keeps his body and his spirits. In contrast to Margaret's crisp, cooling ritual, 80-year-old Geraldine from Montreal starts her evenings with something warm, floral, and deeply restorative. A homemade herbal tea infused with dried berries. Her blend includes dried blueberries, raspberries, and elderberries, steeped in hot water, with a hint of hibiscus or rooibos. It's tart, subtly sweet, and packed with antioxidants. I call it my night medicine, she says. creating her ceramic mug. It keeps my legs from cramping and helps me sleep. For seniors who struggle with nighttime restlessness, high blood pressure, or poor circulation, berry-infused herbal teas offer a double benefit, calming the nervous system while supporting cardiovascular health. Berries are rich in polyphenols, compounds linked to improve vascular elasticity and lower inflammation. Hibiscus, a common base for herbal teas, is known for its blood pressure-lowering effects, and rooibos offers natural magnesium and sleep-enhancing properties without caffeine. Geraldine's habit began after she read a brochure at her local senior center on sleep hygiene. She replaced her evening wine with berry tea. I felt the difference within a week. I didn't wake up so dry in the mouth and my feet didn't tingle like before. For her, the tea became not just a drink, but a signal to slow down, to transition into rest. I light a candle. I hold the mug, I let the day go, she says. Her cousin Claudette, age 77, joined her in this nightly practice during a summer visit. Claudette had always struggled with staying asleep past 3 a.m., but after 3 nights of drinking Geraldine's berry infusion, she slept until sunrise, something she hadn't done in months. They now call it their evening pause and text each other photos of their mugs from across the city. For them, tea is a connection, it's a community. It's elderly wisdom steeped in warm water. Making the tea is simple. A teaspoon of dried berries or a bag of berry blend herbal tea, steeped in hot water for 5-7 minutes. Some add a cinnamon stick or a drop of raw honey. The key is warmth and patience. Drink slowly, ideally an hour before bed. For those managing medications, always check interactions, especially if hibiscus is involved. But for most seniors, it's gentle, soothing, and deeply hydrating. Together, Margaret's cucumber mint ritual, Daniel's turmeric twist, and Geraldine and Claudette's berry herbal tea offer a complete summer routine. Cool hydration for the afternoon, comforting calm for the evening. These are not exotic cures or prescriptions. They're small acts of care, rooted in memory, reinforced by science, empowered by intention. And they whisper the same truth we hear again and again in elderly reflections. You are never too old to nourish yourself with intention. Under the golden sun of Southern California, 83-year-old Paul Ramirez tends to his backyard garden where watermelons stretch across the soil like green gems. Paul never expected this fruit to become part of his daily summer ritual. But after a mild heat stroke episode at age 80, everything changed. His doctor's advice was clear. Hydrate more, but do it smartly. Paul began juicing his homegrown watermelons every morning, blending them with a splash of lime. 3 years later, he hasn't skipped a day. I call it my summer armor, Paul jokes. Watermelon juice is more than refreshing. It's loaded with lycopene, vitamin C, and L-citrulline, which studies suggest help reduce blood pressure, improve circulation, and even ease muscle soreness. For seniors, that's crucial. A 2016 study in the American Journal of Hypertension found that older adults consuming watermelon extract daily experienced significant reductions in systolic and diastolic blood pressure after just 6 weeks. But Paul didn't need the study to tell him. I just feel better, he says. My hands don't tingle, my ankles don't swell, and I don't feel dizzy in the heat. His routine is simple. 1 large wedge of seedless watermelon, chilled, cubed, and blended, with a splash of fresh lime juice and ice. No sugar, no additives, just natural hydration. It's like drinking the garden, Paul smiles. Paul's neighbor Tom, a 74-year-old jazz pianist, also picked up the habit after suffering a series of dizzy spells during outdoor performances. Watermelon juice got me back on stage, Tom says. He combines his watermelon with a few mint leaves for extra cooling effect and swears by it as a pre-performance drink. It clears the fog in my head, he says. Makes me feel light, like I'm in rhythm again. Back in the Midwest, 81-year-old Cheryl makes her version with a dash of Himalayan salt to aid with sodium balance. People forget that seniors lose salt in the heat faster than they realize, she says. This keeps my blood pressure steady and my mind sharp. Thousands of miles east in Kyoto, Japan, one steeped in generations of wisdom, barley tea known locally as mugicha, brewed from roasted barley grains and served cold. It's caffeine-free, nutty, and slightly bitter. But more than that, it's medicinal. My grandmother gave me mugicha when I had a fever, Kiko recalls. Now I drink it every day in summer. It cools the body, it clears the head. Barley tea is rich in antioxidants like quercetin and lignans, and contains compounds that help support digestion, lower cholesterol, and reduce internal heat. A concept deeply respected in Eastern medicine. Scientific studies from Korean and Japanese universities have linked mugicha to reduced blood viscosity and better circulation in older adults. Particularly beneficial during hot weather, when heart strain increases. For seniors with heart concerns, it's a powerful ally. Kiko prepares hers the traditional way. A handful of roasted barley grains simmered in water, then cooled and stored in the fridge in a glass jar. No sweetener, she insists. The bitterness is part of the medicine. Her daughter, now in her 60s, continues the practice. They brew together on Sundays, talking over the sound of boiling water and roasted grain. A bond of care passed from one generation to the next. Her neighbor, Hiroshi, 89, says mugicha helped him wean off afternoon coffee. I sleep better now, he says, and my heart doesn't race like before. Hiroshi steeps his barley tea with a tiny piece of ginger to aid digestion and circulation. He drinks 2 glasses every afternoon and credits it for his ability to walk to the market unaided. And then there's David, a 76-year-old widower in Vancouver, who discovered barley tea during a visit to Japan in his early 70s. It reminded me of iced coffee, but gentler, he says. After returning home, he began brewing it himself, especially on days when his blood pressure spiked or he felt fatigued. Within months, it became part of his identity. I offer it to friends now. I tell them, this is what 70 tastes like. He laughs, but there's pride in his voice. David now keeps a pitcher of mugicha in the fridge and drinks it with a slice of lemon for added zest. He shares it with his daughter and grandson during weekend brunches. It's funny, he says, the drink that reminded me of Japan now reminds me of my family. In a quiet suburb of Brisbane, Australia, 84-year-old Phyllis sits under her veranda each afternoon, sipping watermelon juice and listening to her wind chime. Her son, a physician, was the one who encouraged her to blend fruit into her hydration routine. It's not just for the body, she says, it's for the soul too. For Phyllis, adding mint and a little crushed ice gives it a slushy feel that reminds her of her childhood summers, a sensory anchor to happier, freer times. It's funny, she smiles, how something cold and red can warm your heart. Barley tea also crosses continents. In Germany, 79-year-old Klaus first encountered mugicha during his travels to Tokyo with his late wife. After her passing, he started brewing it at home, as a quiet tribute to their shared adventures. It reminds me of her, he says simply. Every time I sip it, I remember how curious we were, how alive. Klaus now shares mugicha with his bridge group. It was strange at first. Now they ask for it before we even shuffle the cards. In the end, these beverages are not just nutritional choices, they're emotional landscapes. They hold stories, legacy, and intention. They support senior health not only through science, but through the heart. In each glass, there's a life lesson, a moment of reflection, a pause between breaths that says, I'm still learning how to care for myself. That's what Elderly Reflections is about. It's about elderly wisdom passed not through books, but through cups. Through the shared language of tea and fruit and herbs. Through moments that feel small but are actually monumental. Through choices that may seem ordinary but shape the very way seniors move through summer, with strength, peace, and presence. Both watermelon juice and barley tea bring something more than hydration. They bring a sense of grounding, of reconnecting with the earth, through fruit, through grain, through heritage. These are drinks that do more than quench thirst. They nourish memory. They rebuild identity. They whisper, you still have rhythms, you still have roots. In a quiet suburb of Brisbane, Australia, 84-year-old Phyllis sits under her veranda each afternoon, sipping watermelon juice and listening to her wind chimes. Her son, a physician, was the one who encouraged her to blend fruit into her hydration routine. It's not just for the body, she says, it's for the soul too. For Phyllis, adding mint and a little crushed ice gives it a slushy feel that reminds her of her childhood summers. A sensory anchor to happier, freer time. It's funny, she smiles, how something cold and red can warm your heart. Barley tea also crosses continents. In Germany, 79-year-old Klaus first encountered mugicha during his travels to Tokyo with his late wife. After her passing, he started brewing it at home as a quiet tribute to their shared adventures. It reminds me of her, he says simply. Every time I sip it, I remember how curious we were, how alive. Klaus now shares mugicha with his bridge group. They thought it was strange at first. Now they ask for it before we even shuffle the cards. In the end, these beverages are not just nutritional choices, they're emotional landscapes. They hold stories, legacy, and intention. They support senior health not only through science, but through the heart. In each glass, there's a life lesson, a moment of reflection, a pause between breaths that says, I'm still learning how to care for myself. That's what Elderly Reflections is about. It's about elderly wisdom passed not through books, but through cups, through the shared language of tea and fruit and herbs, through moments that feel small but are actually monumental, through choices that may seem ordinary but shape the very way seniors move through summer, with strength, peace, and presence. So if you're over 70 or caring for someone who is, don't just reach for water, reach for nourishment, reach for memory, reach for practices that remind us we're still here and still deserving of joy, flavor, and care. Every choice we make in our later years has the power to transform how we experience life. And what we drink is no exception. These 6 beverages aren't trends or fleeting advice. They are time-traveled rituals built on culture, science, and emotion. And they remind us of something essential. Wellness is still possible, peace is still attainable, and beauty still exists in the everyday. Whether it's the citrus warmth of lemon honey water, the quiet clarity of cucumber mint, or the rich red sweetness of fresh watermelon, each sip is a small declaration that we matter, that we're worth caring for, that aging is not just survival, it's reflection, it's resilience. If this video spoke to you, if it stirred memories, offered new ideas, or simply reminded you of someone you love, we invite you to like this content, share it with a fellow senior, and subscribe to Elderly Reflections for more stories rooted in wisdom, compassion, and daily inspiration. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from, and which drink would you try first? We'd love to hear your story. Stay hydrated, stay strong, and keep reflecting.